think we've got a really strong commercial agricultural capacity in South Africa. And we've got really good farmers producing a lot of our food needs. In some commodities we actually export in good years, some of the staple crops and so on. However, there's a lot of challenges in our environment, and I think one of our biggest issues is that the conditions for agriculture, the natural conditions, are not the best. So I think the statistics say that only about 12% of our land has the appropriate temperature and soil conditions to support rain-fed agriculture. 67% of our land is better suited for grazing. So, I mean, it's a form of agriculture, but that's a certain kind. So not for produce. Only 3% of the soils in the country are regarded as really, really fertile for good agriculture. So I mean, the natural environment is a tough one, and then we know that our average annual rainfall in South Africa is just about half of the global average annual. So if you take these things into account, you realize that the natural environment is a tough one. We need farmers, and we've got really, really good farmers here, but we need farmers who are resilient and who can work in tough conditions. I just think it's a challenge that we need to develop more a new cohort, new ways of farming, but also new younger farmers coming in, because one of the issues is that the farming population tends to be much older, and the question is what happens in the future. Young people are not attracted to farming. We know about urbanization and that kind of thing. So I think there are some challenges. Well, it takes, everybody that's interested to get involved. So it's about collaboration and partnership, and we need government, we need civil society, we need the NGOs, we need private sector, we need the farmers, the input suppliers, the people who buy the product. Nobody's going to solve this issue on its own. It's just too big, and I think it's about collaboration.
People playing their part.
Well, I think, one of we've identified that, all the issues I've just spoken about, that we need to be doing something to, ensure that we can continue to operate in a society where we can work with farmers, build resilience with the farmers, get them to continue to provide the kind of produce we need to ensure that our customers get the kind of food we need, and that we have partnerships with everybody that are stakeholders in this continuum, so that we can support, wherever that. And so the program we have called Farming for the Future is what I'll be talking about today. And I'll go into some of the detail around how we're trying to work in this constrained environment to ensure that our farmers operate at a peak level and are as efficient as possible to produce the highest quality foods with the lowest impact on the environment through water usage, energy, climate, impact on biodiversity, and so on.
Well, we've got a sustainable development portfolio in the business, and it's made up of a range of disciplines which include community and human rights, health, safety, environment, and the like. And I think our entire strategy is articulating the business's interface with society, which is inherently implementing a social agenda. So what we've done with the strategy is we've taken it and we've integrated the relevant aspects of the Sustainable Development Goals into all aspects of our strategy. And we're executing and implementing it. So there's a whole lot of examples and details, and it'll take me forever describing that, but you're welcome to go to our Sustainable Development Report, which looks at how do we respond to the challenges and opportunities that we find. Okay, so I think one of the things that I'm really interested in is the work that we do. Can I give you two, right? From different areas. In 2005-06, we established an integrated malaria control program in Ghana, okay? And it encompassed the entire Obuasi district where we had our mine, and that's maybe about 1,800 people. And we led the design and implementation of that to significantly reduce malaria in the area. And at the time in 2006, we were seeing about 15,000 cases of malaria every month in Obuasi. And within 2 years, we had reduced that by 72%, and that's been sustained ever since. And another thing that I'm finding really interesting, but it's a bit newer now. Part of our economic development projects in Tanzania at Geita Gold Mine, as we've, in collaboration with the municipal, regional governments, community stakeholders, etc., have started developing large-scale industrial rice farming, commercial rice farming, and commercial sunflower farming. We've had. I think I recall 2 harvests already. We've got people into corporates and cooperatives, and it's largely driven by women. Whilst we do some philanthropic stuff, we do some CSI stuff, that is a pure fraction. And what I'm working on right now is making sure that all of that is aligned and integrated. But the core of our work is, how do we give effect to being a citizen through the work that we do in conducting our operations? I guess, no, there are always going to be challenges, because the thing is, I mean, within sustainable development, we're working within complex systems. We're dealing with wicked problems. There's no ideal solution. There's no single solution. There's a multiple raft of possible ideas and solutions you can put in play. There always is a challenge in terms of resourcing. There's a challenge in terms of shareholder expectations or analysts' expectations and short-termism. There's a serious limitation in terms of our understanding of impact. Okay, and I think there's a lot more work that we need to do in terms of how do we measure impact, not from our lens, but from the lens of the stakeholders. And how do they see and how do they experience us?
For more stories like these, go to www.social-tv.co.za, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on our social mediums.